G'day folks, just out here cutting firewood during the winter time. Thought I'd take a little break and make a video on how to sharpen our chainsaws. It's not a professional way of sharpening chainsaws, but it does the trick. When you live on a farm or in the woods, you don't have time to bring your chains in to get it professionally ground. So what we do is we sharpen them with a file. It takes a little bit to learn the skill. Couple tips when you're just starting out: always make sure you have a good quality sharp file. Don't try and use a dull plugged up file. Another tip when starting out is don't try to resharpen a chain that is really old or really dull or really messed up, like it hit a nail or something. It's very frustrating for a new starter, and it can often lead to your saw cutting crooked or hardly cutting at all, or pulling hard to one side. And it's not much fun when you try something and don't have success. So the best way you can set yourself up for success is start with a nice a newer chain that has been sharpened once or twice, and it's not totally beat up. Another thing is, don't wait until it's so dull that it's absolutely miserable to try and bring back to sharpen. So this one here, I went and cut probably half a cord, face cord of nice clean wood. It still cuts fairly nice, but it's just nice to touch them up. I like to file without a guide, but I do know that it's a learned skill. One couple tips is, when you're first learning out, is get yourself comfortable, locked in position so that there's not too much wobbling or going on. And you don't want to be like this, and you don't want to be like this. You want to be about as flat as possible. Obviously there's some little bit of angles that you can do when they're first sharpened, but when you're just eyeballing it and just for cutting firewood and stuff, just try and keep it flat, even strokes. And if you don't sharpen, or if you don't let it get too dull, you only need 1 or 2 strokes. So on this side, you skip every second tooth. And so on and so forth. After you've been sharpening chain for a while by hand, you get to learn which brands of chain are harder, which teeth are harder. This is a Forester chain, and the file really has to work on them. Something like a Oregon chain, they're fairly soft. Files just cut them like nothing. The Still chains, they're fairly hard, about as hard as the Forester actually. As for kinds of files I prefer, I've enjoyed the Timber Savage files the most. So we'll just zip through here and I'll show you how I do the other side. As for doing the other tooth, you sharpen from this side on this tooth, but from this side you need to sharpen from this way. Now, I'm not very good left-handed, so the technique that I found that works for me is by flipping the saw over so that I can just use my right hand again and just push straight down. So just another tip is if you can have your chains as clean as possible before sharpening, your files will last longer. It's a good idea to wear gloves. However, I do understand that when you're first starting out, it's kind of cumbersome. You don't really want to have to push very hard, because if you're pushing hard and you slip, often you'll put a finger across the edge of the tooth and slice yourself. It's not really that big of a deal, it's just miserable to be dripping blood while cutting firewood. Not sure why this file's chattering so hard. So that's that. I know it's not perfect, but if you practice, you can get pretty good at it. So in summary, a couple tips that you should do when you're first starting out. Get a couple good quality files. Get a new chain to start with. Don't worry about trying to fix old junk. And then just take your time. Just follow what's already ground there, basically, and you'll have her not too bad. Don't wait until it's so dull that it's miserable and you gotta spend half an hour filing trying to get it half decent. Just when you know it's starting to slow down a bit, just take the time, take 5 minutes, give it a quick brush with the file, bring them back to life. So anyways, I'm gonna go and get to work here, and hopefully you found this video a little helpful for you. Take care, guys.